Kickstarter games have a long history of being very hit and miss. One of the earliest projects to hit it big was none other than A Hat in Time, decimating its modest $30,000 goal by raising nearly $300,000. It promised to be a 3D platformer designed to recapture the GameCube era of 3D platformers. But I'm sure all of you guys already know this. What matters now is that the game is finally complete after 4 freaking years. It was originally supposed to launch in 2014, but it was delayed further and further. It is only just a small team after all, and they wanted this game to be as polished as possible. So, full disclosure, I was sent a review copy of the game for free, and as such, it's the PC version. And while I can run the game at max settings, I can't while I'm recording, so the game footage isn't going to look quite as pretty as the game can be. That said, it's been a long time coming. I followed the game on and off for about 3.5 years now, and, you know, as the platformer man, it's my job to let you guys know how it is. I know there's a lot of hype surrounding this game, and after many Kickstarter disappointments, I think it's high time we see if this is the one that lives up to the hype. From the very moment you boot up the game, it shines with production value. I mean, oh my lord, look at this! This is a title screen! We've got an explosion of characters we can expect to see in this enchantingly adventurous music that inspires great things to come. Oh no, they're trying to make us set the bar real high already. Alright, let's do it. A Hat in Time follows the simple plight of a young space-traveling girl. After stumbling across a quirky little planet, her fuel reserve is opened up and scatters all across the world. These are timepieces, the game's equivalent to stars or jiggies. If Hat Kid wants to get home, she'll have to recollect them all to power her ship. Boom, that's it. That's all you need. Something simple just to give you reason to get these things. But at the same time, it's unbelievably charming. Hat Kid is just bursting with character, you know, every animation, the voice acting, everything about her just makes you fall in love with her from watching this very brief opening cutscene. And in less than 5 minutes, bam, we're on the ground already exploring the game's world. Wow. The first area is called Mafia Town. It's very reminiscent of Delfino Plaza and Windfall Island. It's a very open style world, you know, like Mario Sunshine. In fact, the game draws a lot of inspiration from Mario Sunshine, most notably the tightrope walking and the dive move, both of which are taken straight from it. Hat Kid has a great variety of moves. We've got the standard double jump, but she also does this little wall climb when you jump at something. Think like how Mario will slide down a wall, but instead you ascend a foot or so. Not only does this make climbing up ledges feel incredibly smooth, but during this animation, you can also initiate a wall jump. The dive is also a major game mechanic. You'll make frequent use of it to get a great amount of distance out of each jump. You're able to do this little hop out of the diving animation too, which eliminates the problem of overshooting jumps with it. There's also a grapple move you'll unlock later for swinging off of hooks and whatnot. As far as indie platformers go, it's definitely one of the wider movesets I've seen, and as I've often said before, a wide moveset is integral to creating a great platformer. That's one of the reasons why Mario and Banjo are such good games, because of the array of moves you have to choose from to navigate your surroundings and to solve surrounding puzzles. While Mario games focus more so on having moves that are great for flinging yourself around your environment, Banjo games tend to have a more technical aspect to the moves for solving problems. Hat Kid actually has a wide moveset in both of these categories. We've got the before-mentioned moves on the Mario side of the spectrum, but the Banjo side is fulfilled with your different hat abilities. As you progress through the game, you'll collect balls of yarn that you can use to unlock new hats. Every hat will have a different ability, some examples being the Sprint hat for running, the Brewer hat for using explosives, the Ice hat that gives you this ground pound move, and my favorite, the Dweller Mask. Each one of these hats gives you abilities that are integral for progressing in the game. The Sprint hat, for example, gives you a little extra distance in your jump, but it's mostly just used for going faster. You'll need the Brewer hat to destroy obstacles or bust open crates, and the Ice hat can be used against enemies, but is mainly used for these springboards that'll fling you over to new areas. The Dweller Mask is hands down the coolest one. Do you remember that level in Mario Galaxy 2 where Yoshi can eat a fruit that makes the world materialize around him? It's very similar to that. Toggling turning it on will materialize transparent objects around you, allowing you to stand on them. This one has a cooldown timer though, and can only be used so long, which makes it a great challenge. Sometimes you'll even have to flick it on and then back off, since it also makes other platforms dematerialize. You can swap between them all instantly by either opening the menu and choosing one, or flipping through them at the drop of a hat with the D-pad. You're also able to upgrade the hats, but I think it's just a cosmetic change. I don't think it does anything gameplay-wise. Regardless though, it's still great fun to see the different outcomes. I mean, look how adorable Hat Kid looks in the dinosaur hood. Like the 3D Mario games, the game has a mission-based structure. It's closest to Sunshine, since the level is often built a certain way depending on which one you pick. Oh, look at that. She wears a raincoat in the rainy version of the level. Dude, oh, that's sick, dude. The missions can vary greatly. It might consist purely of platforming, but sometimes they can be a little more story-focused. It can be very simple, like getting to a place and the guy's like, yeah, thank you, but sometimes it's like this big, quirky Paper Mario style chapter. My favorite was Chapter 2. It takes place in a big film studio where two directors compete to make the best movie so they can win an award. We've got the conductor. He's this... Okay, well, I don't really know what he is, but I love his design.
I haven't written the script for my next movie yet, so we're not recording.
He's also incredibly Scottish. On the other side, we've got DJ Grooves, a disco penguin who's more about style and popularity. You'll get to do missions on either side of the film studio. My favorite one was when there's an owl murder mystery on the conductor's train, and the train gets overrun with these weird crow guys. There's some amazing little details, like getting to Photoshop your ID so you can pass legally as a penguin. I made mine look like Wario, and it becomes your save file image. I didn't even realize that at first. Oh my god, listen to the way the soundtrack transforms between which side of the screen you have the cursor on. Yes, that Banjo-Kazooie thing. This is present throughout the entire game. Whether you go underwater or in a cave, it's always there. The soundtrack overall kinda has a little bit of a Wind Waker vibe to it, but it has this punch that Nintendo couldn't quite get with the MIDI format back in the GameCube days. There's also prominent use of theremin, giving the soundtrack a very curious but playful spin, which was remarkably fitting. Sometimes the soundtrack gets very Super Paper Mario style, with a very subtle incorporation of chiptune, blending with the instruments beautifully. This is often done for the Spooky Woods level where you sell your soul to get timepieces. Oh my god, dude, this game's amazing. This game nails one thing that's always integral about charming video games: the scenarios. It's very reminiscent of Paper Mario, honestly. You're just thrown into so many fun situations, whether it's a film set, a haunted mansion, a conspiracy, or a murder mystery. Every moment is iconic. I mean, this game isn't just bursting with character, it's exploding with character. Memorable characters that burn themselves into your brain the moment you lay eyes on them. These are some top-notch character designs, from Hat Kid herself to pretty much every NPC in the entire game. You gotta check out these idle animations, dude. Look at that, she's playing with her dolls. Aww. The game's fully voice acted too. Nearly every line of dialogue is spoken aloud, and the voice acting isn't bad either.
Yikes! Looks like you've got a lot of cleaning up to do, huh?
Oh man, do you remember when you explored Windfall Island or Delfino Island for the very first time? You're going to feel that all over again. This is the first indie game I've ever played that has really recaptured that feeling, and I think a big part of it is because it doesn't try so hard to retread old ground, but rather it feels like something so aesthetically new, even if it does use these familiar cues. I love the intros to every stage. You've got the panning wide shots, the transparent letterboxing. It screams Mario Sunshine, and I hadn't seen a game do it quite like this in more than a decade. And the magical feeling of finishing a stage, you know, the music calming down and seeing the floating timepiece spinning around, shimmering in the air. The sheer amount of detail put into this game is astonishing. For example, there's a unique title card for every chapter, every single one, and this is some professional work. I can't even imagine how long it would have taken to make all of these. You know, I think what makes this game so aesthetically powerful is that, for once, it's not trying to directly replicate something else. You know, it's not trying to look like Mega Man or Banjo or Mario. These are characters I'm only gonna look at and think, aha, Hat in Time, even if the gameplay is a little reminiscent of other games. It's not like Yooka-Laylee where I'm gonna look at the characters and think, oh yeah, it's kind of like Banjo and Kazooie. No, it's not like that at all. A Hat in Time is a Hat in Time, and nothing else is. The same can be said for the gameplay too. I mean, it might borrow mechanics from Mario Sunshine, but it fleshes them out in a way Sunshine didn't. The diving, for example, like I said earlier, it's tweaked to be different and to complement a different kind of level design. I mean, look how confidently I can just dive at these tightropes and land an accurate jump. The tightropes too, it was something that was very underutilized in Mario Sunshine, but A Hat in Time makes it one of the core elements. Some of the game's boss fights are sick too. I'm not going to show any of the cool ones because I really don't want to spoil them, but every dodge, impact, and move is elevated by all of these visual effects and hard-hitting sound effects. They're incredibly stylish, but also really fun to play too. The final boss, the final boss was amazing. One of my favorite things about this game is how it never forgets about stage gimmicks or hat abilities. Every single mechanic you learn is something that'll be continually used throughout the entire game. There will never be a point when you're gonna think, oh, I really haven't needed this hat in a while, or the game hasn't really done this in a while. It's always taking these core elements and it constantly reworks them in new ways that get more and more challenging. The game never loses focus. Even in the more story-focused areas, it only implements mechanics that greatly complement the core platforming genre. A Hat in Time is so consistently well designed. I mean, ironically enough, it even follows that classic structure where you don't actually need every timepiece to advance, so you can pick and choose which missions you like best and avoid the ones you don't like. But that never happened. I never didn't want to do one, because every single one was enjoyable, as if over the course of 4 years, they were not hesitant to throw out ideas that didn't work or rework stages that were a little annoying. The game's pace is breakneck. That problem of where do I go that was ever so present in Yooka-Laylee is decimated by Hat Kid's ability to locate her objective with a shoulder button. But even in missions where you can't do that, the game has many subtle cues to direct the player in the right direction, even if it's an open world level. Sometimes the game will throw these extended, raw platforming segments at you. The atmosphere gets tense, the music gets serious, you strap yourself down and pitch yourself against the challenge. They're very reminiscent of Mario Sunshine's floodless stages. They're encountered by finding what's called time rifts. Every once in a while, the game will give you a photo of a location on the map, and it's up to you to stumble across it and find the hidden stage. It gives the game a great reason to explore, and in addition to these, exploring also heeds other rewards like extra yarn balls, relics, and hidden coins. There's plenty of hidden areas and items that make exploration fun and satisfying. Oh my lord, you can really tell that A Hat in Time was created by people who really understand platformers. It's like they reached out to so many different games, pulling every mechanic that works and tweaking it to be their own. The game is so thoroughly polished and consistently well designed. The game took me about 13 hours to complete, but that was only at 65% completion. Getting all of the timepieces will take you even longer, so if length's important to you, the $30 you'll drop on A Hat in Time definitely won't disappoint. A Hat in Time is a culmination of everything that works in platforming games. Not only is it the best 3D indie platformer game I've ever played, it is one of the best indie games I've ever played. From the title screen to the credits, I had a smile on my face the entire time. But of course, like any game, it's not perfect. Some minor criticisms of mine include a sometimes slightly wonky camera, finicky wall jumping when you're close to a ceiling, and Hat Kid doesn't always face the screen when you get a timepiece. However, these issues are so infrequent and minor that it never takes away from the core experience. There's a fly in my soup, but you pick it out and keep eating because it's just too good to pass up on. Gears for breakfast, huh? I wouldn't mind having gears for lunch and dinner too. And I'm ready for dessert. DLC chapters are on the way. I gotta thank everybody for helping them hit those stretch goals because I'm hungering for more, and more's a-coming. I'm sure after so many Kickstarter disappointments, a lot of people were probably a little bit worried about this game, but rest assured, I can say with absolute certainty, it's everything you guys want it to be. It was worth the wait. A Hat in Time, simply put, is a fantastic game.